Hey guys, this is Kim. Welcome back to the Miracosta Filmmakers podcast. I'm joining today with
Tim
and Jessica.
And let's get into it. We are meeting up for the first time since the semester ended. We've had a few hiccups trying to meet up, but here we are. We finally managed to do it.
Yeah.
So what do you guys want to talk about first? The Cats fiasco?
Yes. Ooh, meow.
Tort.
So, pretty much, what's kind of happening is the Cats movie itself, when it came out, it had some mixed reviews, but it actually had some pretty big CGI problems, like with characters not being, having fully CGI hands or feet, or having, like, accessories on that weren't edited out, like, what was that, Henry Cavill with the...
Henry Cavill?
With the mustache?
Yeah, during, I think it was Batman vs. Superman or something?
Yeah, that's what it was, yeah. It was like a reverse of that, where they didn't do enough.
Yeah, I think one of the studios or whatever would not let him shave it, because he was doing the Mission Impossible movie at the time, and that studio for that movie would not let him shave it off, and then... which was the dumbest fucking thing ever. Yeah.
Well, anyway, they're saying that they were going to try to re-release the Cats movie with improved visual effects. Like, that's the quote that they're going with. But
my ass.
But the movie's, like, already out. It's not like the Sonic, where they can just redo, the design and everything. So it's...
Yeah.
Well, the thing about the Sonic movie and just trailers in general is... you don't need to stick with the original day that the trailer says, or just, you don't need to stick with the original stuff you're promoting. You can change before the release. What you can't do is change afterwards and then just, expect people to be like, hey, wait a second, this isn't, what I came here for, and then for the trailer to say, oh, no, this is what we wanted and stuff. So it's better that they're at least changing it beforehand so that there's not, some type of deceptive marketing or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they should just accept that the movie sucked and people don't like it and just go with it,
I just wonder what Cats fans themselves, like the people who enjoy the musical, the production, how they actually feel about the movie. Like, just besides the effects, like, is the plot actually following along with the play? Are the characters doing their stuff? Or do they add in little mannerisms and little, I don't want to say Disneyisms, but you know how Disney, like, sometimes with, like, Pocahontas or Peter Pan...
sugarcoats things, whitewashes things.
Sugarcoats things, and then just adds in just, side things and characters that just aren't in the original version. Because that's one of the most annoying things, is just to add in more.
I've seen some reviews of the movie, I haven't seen the actual movie, but they're saying that the story is just all over the place and it's just not good. And the only redeeming thing about this movie is the music, which comes directly from the musical, so that's not really a good thing, because the only good thing about this movie is what they're taking and ripping off from the musical that it's based off of.
Yeah.
Which, even if you're seeing it for the first time, like if you've never seen Cats, which many people probably have, and they're looking at it, it'd probably be like, okay, a couple good songs here and there, but it's like, like okay, if you're going back to the Disney thing, and I'm going to stop with that, but if you're going back to the Disney thing, even some of Disney's more lackluster pieces have pretty good soundtracks overall. Not, like, let's say the Princess and the Frog as a movie. It has some pretty good, beats, some good music to it, but nothing that, like, really has you scream out, like, a whole new world or songs like that.
Yeah.
And I feel that that's one of the problems that Disney is slowly, drifting towards.
A little too much cheese, dude.
Yeah. And
Jesus. Like, I remember seeing The Princess and the Frog in theaters, and I was just like, I was so glad they especially returned to hand-drawn animation. Yeah. But some of the songs in there was just freaking obnoxious. The whole song When We're Human. Oh my god.
The other side was pretty good, though.
Yeah. I love that one.
It was kind of like the Frozen movies. Like, what made them so great was mostly the songs. Yeah, like, everyone loved all the songs. They loved Let It Go and Do You Want to Build a Snowman and everything. Everyone was singing those songs. Like, not so much the movie and the story. They just liked the songs that came out of it.
And the problem I had with the Cats trailer also, that's just one thing I want to say is, I didn't get one song beat from it. Like, I didn't see any real musical aspect from it. And I guess I get if they don't want to spoil it, if the songs have a big context to, you know, the scene and things like that. But you could have some beats and things like that. Like, I know that it's probably going to be bad, but when you look at the Joker trailer, different trailers, they had the different soundtracks and elements to it. They were played in different, you know, times and different tones rather than when they were in the movie, but it still kind of felt and got you like a grasp of the movie.
Yeah, I'm nervous. I don't think they did, because my brother saw it, and he and I are both hardcore musical fans. And we are well versed. We know the original Cats musical like the back of our hands. So I was curious if they were going to do like the 2016 or 2017 version of Annie, where they completely redid certain songs in a different, new, modernized, bullshit kind of way, which for the Annie musical, I didn't even bother seeing it because it just looked like a travesty. And I looked up one song from that new Annie movie on YouTube, and it was the new revised Miss Hannigan song, which was absolutely horrendous. I was wondering if they were going to do that with the new Cats movie. And from talking to my brother the other day, I don't think they did, thankfully, because he didn't say anything about like new music or whatever, which is good, because I really was hoping that they didn't butcher this musical, because it really is a really great musical.
It is, and like one of the things I kind of want to see more of is I want to see more adaptations. You know, like there's Little Shop of Horror. I'm really surprised that we haven't gotten any news of that Wicked movie in development.
Oh yeah, I'm really surprised too.
But for me, I would just want to see more play. Like, okay, a Hamilton movie that would sell truckloads.
Oh yeah. Especially right now, since it's still pretty. I mean, the hype around it is calming down now, but it's still really, really fresh.
Yeah.
Especially Lin-Manuel Miranda, who's actually been around for years, but he's now mostly in the spotlight now for who knows what reasons. Especially with Lin-Manuel Miranda in general, he's just like almost all over the place now.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm a little tangent, but I have the movie Wicked profile up, and it says 2021 release date, maybe December 22nd, 2021. So, and nothing else.
I really wonder who's going to direct it, because when I saw Oz the Great and Powerful, just as a tangent, when it came out, there were elements I liked about it. I liked how the places they went to, but what they actually did and the characters' interactions, you just kind of stood around and talked.
It was so bad.
For these different plays and things like that, there wasn't even a song in it.
Oh yeah, it wasn't a musical.
I'm completely blown away by that, actually.
By the way, the director is going to be Stephen Daldry for the Wicked movie.
What works has he done?
No idea. Let's find out. So we're bringing it up right now. He actually looks like Joel Grey, who played the wizard in the original Broadway cast of Wicked, which is really funny. He's done The Crown. What They Left Behind came out in 2014. Son of Man, Guy X, and a bunch of other stuff I have no idea. He did The Reader.
Oh, The Reader.
Wow. Oh, yeah, I love that movie. And I was just thinking about it the other day. He did The Hours. Nice. But yeah.
All right. Shall we move on?
Yeah. Do you want to talk about the Star Wars movie? Do you want to?
I don't know, but you haven't seen it.
Okay, should we talk at least about the controversy then?
What controversy?
The critic controversy around it.
What's the critic controversy?
Okay, so there's a little bit of a controversy going around where they feel that sites like Rotten Tomato or the New York Times or a couple of different movie reviewers are giving them just high scores and 100%. And for a couple of these places I've been to, there's other reviews from.
Is this going to be the Rotten Tomatoes thing?
Yeah, the Rotten Tomatoes.
So Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, they pretty much what are the two ratings again? Is it the people who see the movie and the critics?
Yeah.
It's just the names escaping me.
Yeah, like the audience score and the
audience score and critic score. So the critic score is way higher than the audience. It's like by 30 or 40% higher.
And this is for what movie again?
Star Wars, but also for a couple other ones too that came out like
Abnormally High.
Yeah, Abnormally High. I think Cats got a couple of those too. And,
it was the score is just way off for Cats. Like the audience score was really high, and I don't understand that.
Yeah. Like Rotten Tomatoes, really ever since the boycott was lifted, since the Justice League movie came out, you can really see that they've been fluctuating a lot, because I remember it was really faithful up until they were, until they lifted the ban on the Justice League reviews. People thought it was going to be, an amazing movie, we can be hype and all this stuff. And then it was lifted, and then there was mixed scores, but it was the day the movie came out, so then, people already saw it. But I just remember from then on, people have been iffy about it. But now with, Skywalker coming out and Cats, and for those mixed scores, I don't know. What do you two normally use to judge a movie?
I love Rotten Tomatoes. I always use it as a tool before I see a movie.
I never use any of those kind of movie critic sites.
Do you go on IMDb?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
I don't use anything. I just hey, if something looks good, I'll go see it.
Yeah.
So.
I know a couple of people use older ones like Film.com or MRQE or just New York Times and things like that. But for people that use Rotten Tomatoes, and a lot of people do, because it's almost like partnered with Regal at this point. You see it so often there. But I just wonder what they're going to kind of do to either fix their PR right now or just to handle the situation, because there's almost like a seeds of doubt type of thing being sown, and
yeah. So
Star Wars or Witcher.
Yeah. So I finally watched and finished the first season of the new Netflix series The Witcher, which is a series, obviously, and I thought it was originally going to be just a movie, but screw that. So The Witcher is originally a series of books, which was adapted into a series of video games, which in turn was adapted into a new Netflix series. And Henry Cavill, who plays Superman in the most recent incarnations of the character, he plays the lead of Geralt of Rivia, who is a Witcher. A Witcher is basically someone who was abducted when they were a child, and they had all kinds of experiments done and mutations done to them, and they're basically superhuman, and they hunt down and kill various monsters. They're very taboo in that world. They are very, very mistreated, and yeah.
So is this kind of like a superhero show, or is it like a sci-fi, or what is it?
People are actually kind of thinking that this may be the new Game of Thrones or something.
Oh.
And I don't.
Oh, yeah. I think I saw that when I was scrolling through Netflix. I saw this show that kind of looked like a Game of Thrones ripoff.
Yeah.
Something else.
I think I don't get any type of Game of Thrones vibes from this. I could be completely wrong. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really fun. I cannot wait for the second season. The controversy that I've gotten from it was that critics, I guess, aren't really liking it, but fans, I guess, really do, although some hiccups with it. Some people are kind of iffy about some of the casting, because they don't do exact look-alike castings.
Right. Like, there was even a little bit of a controversy with Henry Cavill, as the main lead, but like from what I, kind of got from the fan reviews, is that they have been, more accepting because he's getting into character. That's the other thing too. You can kind of tolerate a difference if you're willing to at least have dignity, if you're willing to act the role. So yeah.
Yeah. So I got a kick out of it. I cannot wait for the second season.
What episodes would you recommend in particular, and which ones would you recommend avoiding?
I don't really know. Kind of was multitasking at the time, so it was kind of like doing something. I was actually at work and kind of doing something, but kind of just glancing at it. But other than that, I thought it started off pretty interesting. It opens to a really dark, gloomy kind of swamp woods area, and the lead character slays this really creepy kind of scary monster, and I thought it was pretty cool.
All right. So, will you both be my neighbor?
Yeah.
Mr. Rogers.
So 2 Fridays ago, was it?
Yeah.
We saw the new Mr. Rogers movie, Won't You Be My Neighbor, and it stars Tom Hanks playing Fred Rogers. And I'm going to bring it up right now.
I remember there's a big boil about that.
Wait, wrong one.
Oh, yeah, that's the documentary, Won't You Be My Neighbor.
Won't You Be My Neighbor is the actual documentary, and this one is... A
Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood?
A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. My bad.
Yeah, that... actually, both of those movies kind of, like, tackle the two different sides. Like, I'd say the actual logical part, the documentary, does more of a job explaining who he was as a person.
Yeah. I feel like I need to see that movie.
Yeah. While this one seemed to explain more who he was as a friend, or as, like, as, like, socially as a person.
Yeah.
I was disappointed by this movie, A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, because it didn't really follow him. The main character, his name was Lloyd. Yeah, he was the protagonist. So it was about a news reporter, or like, a guy writing a magazine article.
Yeah.
And he
basically has a profile.
Yeah. So it didn't really follow him. It followed a different protagonist trying to get a story on Mr. Rogers. So and so we had to basically follow this protagonist and his story, and he had like a wife and a baby and everything, and I wasn't really that interested in that story. I was more interested in learning about Mr. Rogers. So, I mean, that's why I was kind of disappointed by the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was a really interesting movie. I did really enjoy it. I was kind of, every time I saw Tom Hanks, I was just like, I see Tom Hanks. So it was just
he looks nothing like Mr. Rogers.
Yeah, it was kind of one of those things where it was like Michelle Williams when she played Marilyn Monroe in My Week with Marilyn. Like, all I saw was Michelle Williams.
I mean, besides the appearances, I mean, like, his acting was good. I mean,
I
definitely
enjoyed it.
The mannerisms were good.
Yeah. The scene in the, was it the China restaurant they went to?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That scene in particular, I'd say, is probably one of his best in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But my one criticism, and I enjoyed the movie for what it was. I was surprised by it, but was how grounded it was and the timeline, because it's not linear. That's a little bit of a problem. In the beginning, it starts out and you think it's just going through the steps, but then it goes and cuts back, and I could see how people would be very confused by the reality blending they do sometimes and things like that. And there's some symbolism in it, but it's based off of a true event, and I think they took a little bit too much liberties in certain places, like the scene where he goes unconscious and things like that. Like, if that was in the newspaper article, that would be pretty interesting. But
yeah, and not only that, but I thought it was a very interesting move That one scene where I think it was when he goes unconscious, and then he shows up in the actual set as a character for Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, and then like various other characters are trying to get him to open up and trying to get him to say why he's sad or how he's feeling and stuff like that. I thought it was a very interesting thing to do. It kind of was a little like wonky, as in like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah,
in a sense.
It definitely seemed out of.
It almost kind of took me out of the movie a little bit.
Yeah.
But after obviously keep on watching the scene, I definitely understood why they were doing it, because basically, I think this is the kind of movie that is showcasing what the effect of watching Mr. Rogers and what his work has done for people. And basically we see this character, this journalist, basically realizing why people feel the way they do about Mr. Rogers and what his work does for them. So I feel like this is a movie of literally showing us what his work does.
My big question is, who was the target audience? Because I'm guessing it was just people who grew up watching it.
Yeah.
But if there were bound to be parents that brought their kids to see it. Mm-hmm. And I would say like 75% of the movie probably wasn't, entertaining or kid-friendly.
I wouldn't really recommend this as like a family movie.
But that 25% was very emotional, and I could see a kid gaining a lot of values from that. But that's a hard sell to, say like, oh, you sit through a fourth of the movie and, you get, I'd say you get your money's worth for the movie, but entertainment-wise, you kind of go in different than what the trailer and other stuff was offering.
Oh yeah, like it's a misleading movie where the trailer misleads you into thinking that the focus of this film is going to be Fred Rogers, but it's basically about what he and his work does for another character. Mm-hmm. So, and the effect that his work has on this character.
What I really liked about this movie was, of course, like, a central theme of the movie is that it's okay to be, like, angry or have sad feelings, and that you need to learn how to express it in a healthy and proper way and not through, like, rage. Like, in the beginning of the movie, the character Lloyd, he just, like, punches somebody.
Yeah.
But then we learn that, Mr. Rogers, he, experiences anger just like anybody else, but he channels it in healthy things, like he plays piano and he, like, swims and stuff. And then at the end of the movie, and I thought this was, like, a really smart move in the writing, he starts playing piano at the end, but then he messes up, and then he hits the wrong notes, and then he gets kind of aggressive and starts, like, banging the keys. And so I think that was a really smart move in the writing to show how, like, even Mr. Rogers, who appears totally perfect and nice throughout the movie, even he has his slip-ups.
Yeah, even he gets angry and he has his bad days.
Yeah.
I feel like this, if you guys are really well-versed in or have seen the movie Inside Out, I think this could be the Inside Out for adults.
Yeah.
People it does a really good job of getting the viewer to, like, try to at least just acknowledge and be more literate with how they feel, and then maybe exercises on how to process their emotions.
That is the thing about Inside Out that it's a little criticism I have is the girl, was it Carly or the actual main girl that the story focuses on? She doesn't really do much in the actual story other than run away towards the end.
Yeah. And
they could have played more with the lack of emotions in a social aspect, but then it would... Okay, did either of you ever see a movie Meet Dave a while back with Eddie Murphy?
I've heard of it.
Yeah, so...
I haven't seen it.
So pretty much, it's one of those aspects where it's like... it's like a pilot person movie where it's like a fake person, and then there's people inside you that tell you what to do.
And they're just piloting him.
Yeah, and I got I thought that's what Inside Out was going to be, but instead it went on this mental journey where you're going through all these emotions and thoughts and trying to handle and deal with feelings.
Yeah,
and
it's like the internal characters, like Joy and Sadness, they go on their own journey, and that in turn affects Riley, the main character. It affects
the outside, but there isn't many times when you really see her. She's only really, I think, scared and angry a couple times, and then Like, the reason I'm kind of going in this route is whenever you have a movie like this, whenever you have a movie like Mr. Rogers or Inside Out that deals with emotions, you kind of need to clearly and have it clearly shown and grounded as to which side you're taking. Is it realistic, where you're showing like a psychological examination of the person, or are you going a more fantastic route where it's more of an interpretation of emotions, and then like the artist's meaning behind it, like here's how you can deal with it. And for me, I felt a mix for this Mr. Rogers movie. I thought it was a good mix, but it was a mix, and I was kind of surprised by that.
Yeah, I thought it was, it definitely threw me for a loop when it didn't really focus on Mr. Rogers himself.
Yeah, definitely.
So, but other than that, I did enjoy it. So yeah, we'll try again next week. Find somewhere else. I'm Kim.
I'm Tim.
I'm Jessica.
And that was the Miracosta podcast. I think we did a lot of good stuff.
A lot of good stuff. We'll keep you up to date.
Yeah. All right. See you in the next one. Bye.